Good evening, good evening, good evening. While you all come into the room, I should have kept my music going.
You should
My
have,
my little elevator
so we
music.
could got copyright infringement and it'll be taken
Well,
down.
I guess I can't
We
use that station. It I got to use the ones within the app that they give us permission for.
right, right. So we don't have to worry about that strike.
Yeah, I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble. Um. Okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted. So, good evening. It is Friday night sip and chat. And right now it looks like it's Daryl and I rocking out, but we will be joined by our crew. Well, we do what we do, right?
Right.
So how you doing, Daryl? How's your week?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Happy to make another Friday.
Right? Right? Did you have an interesting week or it was just a regular old I ain't doing
I
this, I ain't
mean,
doing that?
aren't they all interesting? But we just manage them the best way we can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so yeah, mine was good too. I mean, I guess, like you said, we just manage it how we can
Hmm.
and keep it
That's
moving
it.
and keep it moving. So somewhere in these internet streets, it was said that people don't have real conversations about relationship challenges and stuff like that. What you think about that, Daryl?
I don't know what they've been listening to because that's all that goes on here.
Right, that's all that we do. Like, we've been here for a minute having these
Hmm.
deep conversations, but we got our discussion flow for this evening, but somewhere in
Right.
these internet streets, they got a false
Well,
narrative going on.
I guess I wouldn't say it's a false narrative. I mean,
It's
because
not.
there's not many places you can go to get this, right? So most places are either telling you how to be in a better relationship from a position that is, very
Toxic.
one-sided. All these relationship gurus that are giving you their advice, which, hey, listen, it might have worked for them, but
Hmm.
it doesn't seem anything for the masses. It doesn't really talk too much about healing. Um, I think the advice that is given from most of these platforms that even try to is very anecdotal, right? It's
Right.
very about that person or about that group of people, that subset. It doesn't encompass what real healing is, and what most people can do. Even those people can use these type of talks to get
Right.
to a better place before they go after that whatever that high value man, high value woman, or that whatever they're looking for, that niche that they're looking for.
Right.
Even looking for a certain niche sometimes could be is problematic. It's not healthy in my eyes anyway. It's not healthy to say I'm looking for somebody who makes X, Y, and Z or yada yada yada. So I don't hear much about love, happiness, compatibility. I don't hear any of that. It's like you got to do this to be with me. So
Right.
it's a lot of bad advice I think that's being given, or like I said, a lot of anecdotal advice that's given from somebody's point of view, which it may or may not work for them, what they feel works for them, and they're trying to
Mhm.
get you to. So I definitely think that shows like this we need more of them. But when you start bringing the truth, people don't really want to hear it.
They don't.
You know,
Oh,
they
the
don't want to
truth
hear the
want
truth.
accountability.
Right, right, right.
They definitely don't want accountability,
Mm-mm,
and like I
mm-mm, mm-mm.
experience that probably on a weekly basis being a couples and relationship therapist. Like they don't want the accountability. They're like, oh, we gotta do
Mm-hmm.
work. We gotta roll up our sleeves.
Right. And I think that's the part too, the work.
The
People want a
work.
magical pill, a magical phrase, a magical relationship. They want Disney and realize it is no Disney. It's a lot of work.
Right. Because
It's a lot of work.
you bringing in two histories, two narratives that have to merge and become one. And
Right.
that journey of becoming one, people feel like they're losing something. If they have
Mm.
to make I'm gonna say shift, they usually be like, we gotta change all that. No, we don't have to change
So
all
shift.
that.
Right.
But there is a shift that
Right. Right.
happens, and
Right.
that shift means that some things do need to change. And people feel
Right.
like what I've been experiencing in the most recent weeks, talking to couples and individuals, they feel like they're losing something.
Mm.
They feel like they losing
It,
something. They can't authentically be them. Like if they're a flirtatious
right.
guy they don't like if they're here's a scenario, if they're a flirtatious guy and just kind of get along with everybody, everybody's magnetized to
Mm-hmm.
you. He's like, okay, well then why when we go out you feel inferior or uncomfortable around
Right.
me just being
Right.
me? But then
Right.
when you peel it back and go backwards, you dipped out and you did some
Mm.
things. And so
Mm-hmm.
those behaviors is now in that person's mind, like, okay, well, is this what he did right in front of
Mm-hmm.
me? And
Mm-hmm.
then start dealing with XYZ person. And it could be true and it could not be true.
Or I mean, in the same scenario, it could be the person, the person they were with before dipped out. Now they're putting that on to you because
Right.
you are, very outgoing person, or flirtatious, if you want to say it that way. And when they see that, it kind of puts them back into that mode that he was that way and he was doing such and such,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're doing such and such. So you could put that on that new person. You could bring that negative energy from the last relationship into this new relationship, and it could cause problems when the person may not be, like I said, it may just be them.
Right, right. So
And I'm
we didn't already start diving into these internet streets conversation.
right, 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 right.
Tonight's conversation discussion flow is, and this is a question that was out here in these internet streets and brought to us to have a conversation around how do you have an open heart and a healthy relationship after experiencing an abusive one? That's a
Right.
loaded question. That's a really, really loaded question. And before we even get into the question, I want to kind of just point out that this could be a very sensitive topic for anybody. So if
Right.
it becomes, that it's a sensitive topic, I want to just encourage you I want to give you a virtual hug, like in advance. But I want you to be mindful that if it becomes triggering or is a red flag or anything like that, that is an indicator that where you are in your healing journey, that it might still be some things that you would be best served by working through that, because relationships matter and wellness definitely matters as well. But everybody is at different places. And it's not to point the finger, is none of that. But I just want to give you that virtual hug. And then, just know that if you are triggered in some way, you make the decision what works best for you. If you could push through the conversation to learn something different, to unlearn what's in the way, or how is best to serve you. You want to add anything to that, Daryl?
No, like I said, if what Mary said,
What Mary said.
there it is. You summed it up well.
Okay.
Trigger warning. That's it.
Trigger
Trigger warning.
warning.
Or,
Yes.
or it could be, you can use this as a barometer for your journey to kind of check where you, it could be a heat check to check where you're at. So like I said, if you do become overly sensitive, then you know there may be some more healing to do. A lot
Right.
of times, we feel like we're in a better place. But until we have to use those tools, sometimes we don't know if we are actually in that better place. So sometimes something like this could be a heat check. If you really kind of put you back in that moment, you may want to reach out and maybe discuss some more things with people, maybe just have to realize that there is a little bit more hurt and healing that can that may come or need to come, which is fine. We all have these things, we all these issues, and we can heal. We try to heal, and we'll talk about ways to
We'll
heal
talk about
tonight.
ways, definitely,
Yes.
definitely. Because healing looks different for everybody, just like grieving looks different for everybody, because it's not always the grief of a loss of something, because you're always gaining
Hmm.
too when it's some kind of grief. And because grief could be financial, it could be job, it could be, house, like it could be a lot of external things in addition to a person that you once loved so significantly. So I think the best place to start is to have a mutual kind of definition of what does healthy relationships look like? Like what is that?
Mm. Mm.
What is that?
Is so. I mean, it's going to
Look
be.
at Ruth's greeting. Look at Ruth's greeting. She said, "Hey fam and Daryl."
I know she's always. I mean, she's little shots all the time. This all these little shots. I get it. I feel it. I feel it.
That's the family part.
um, so that is a real good question. Because again, even I mean, can we? Yeah, what is healthy? It's so subjective these days, I think. So what is healthy? A healthy relationship, what does it look like?
You know what? It made me think about a silly question that I had before even getting here. Like when we hear the word healthy from a cultural standpoint, we automatically think that whatever it is unrealistic and that it's like impossible. So the
Hmm.
silly thought that I had was, when you're going to get the fast food, the food that's not good for you, the food that's not healthy, right? That's always accessible. And what's even worse about it is that you can eat it in the car while you're still moving to the next situation.
Right, right,
But the healthy situations cause you to pause, create time, create space to consume whatever it is, and is not really agile to, movement, most things. I
gotcha.
mean, if y'all got something that you can move with, let me know because I ain't found them yet. But a salad, I can't drive and eat a salad.
Right, right, right.
Um, but yeah, that was my silly thought that I had. I apologize. But the healthy is an arbitrary defined word. And what is healthy to one person is not necessarily healthy to the next. And it's kind of like a personal thank you, Ruth. It's kind of like a personal journey, but it also requires you to really be honest with yourself on what it is that you really, really want and how it is that you're willing to meet that at the table. Because you could be asking for something and then when you get it, you like, what is this in my
Right,
plate?
right,
Or what is this that this person's behaviors are doing that is causing for me to kind of adapt and pause, just like I'm saying for the fast food you don't got to pause. You could just continue to get fat, you get fed at the moment and you still moving,
right,
you don't get a chance to reset. So like how do you create a reset for you is determined by you. But the thing about being determined by you is that you have to really take inventory around who all is sitting at your table. Meaning, like, what are
mm,
the influencers that you have or images that you have around you that would encourage you to continue to go on that path of healthy?
right,
Because if your girls is like, let's go order guys, let's go have a turn up, let's go, cross all these boundaries, let's just, have a Vegas trip and do whatever what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas and don't have to be in Vegas, but that connotation, um that means that those people at that table is not necessarily going to encourage you to make a better decision or give you that hard talk of what you could do differently or what would be recommended differently for you to have a better outcome after you're hurt.
right.
That was a lot.
It was. You guys can get it all on the replay.
And I'm thinking, like, as I'm sharing this, I'm thinking about just various relationship scenarios of that I've experienced this week. One, I mean, like, which one do I want to pick? That as I was sharing, I believe since we've been live, people feel like they have to lose something.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
and they have to lose something in order to show up to the relationship. So if you feel like you have to lose something, is what you're losing helping you or harming you?
Hmm.
Like, are you trying
Hmm.
to hold on to something that's really not serving you well? Like, I'm trying to think of like what some of those things could be. Like, okay, I got an example. I done had some situations this week that you spending quality time with your partner. However, you're self-employed, so phone calls come through your phone all the time, but you've set aside this time for you and your partner but you're also driven on, okay, I got to meet this bottom line and meet this money goal by the end of the month. My wife won't mind because she's going to benefit when I close this deal,
Hmm.
versus you're losing the quality time of spending with her at that immediate moment, which would be the healthy thing, like being able to make the choice that if that contract, if that phone call is for you, then it'll be for you. They can go to voicemail and you can respond to it during your office hours. That takes discipline. but are you really truly committed to nurturing what quality time looks like for you and your partner? And I'm saying
Right.
entrepreneur, but it could really be anybody working in music.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody. Or even I could look at a scenario like even say something like doing something like this, right? Where every Friday we're doing this, and say you believe in it, and this is something you want to do, and you feel like it's something that is important. But who you're dealing with, if they don't really understand that, they feel like, hey, you're just doing something on Friday nights, and that's taking away our day. Say if it was a thing where you had the weekends to do, so you had that Friday night and Saturday, you really do things, because Sunday you're getting ready for the work week.
Right.
They may not understand that, and I can see that causing strife sometimes, where
Mhm.
someone doesn't understand that something someone's there doing, and they may really love it, and a new person doesn't understand it as much and feel like, well, it's like a hobby, and
Mhm.
you don't have to do it every Friday. You can
Mhm.
spend time with me. And
Mhm.
I see things like that. Like from my experience, I remember the gym used to be a problem. Like,
Right.
how are you gonna come? You come home from work, you go to the gym for 2 to 3 hours, come home, we get to see each other for a couple minutes, go to sleep, and you gotta go to work the next day.
Right.
Um, but for me, I said, you know what? I have to make space for this person,
Mhm.
right? It didn't make sense to be there 3 hours. Let's cut this down some, because we do need some time with each
Mhm.
other instead of seeing each other go to sleep, wake up, and go to work.
Mhm.
We weren't. So for me, I was like, you know what? It took some time and a lot of talking to, because
Right.
I was stubborn. I didn't want to. Again, I didn't want to give up me. I felt like the gym was me. I felt like that. I don't think I have to give up me just to be with you. I think we can work around it. But then
Mhm.
I saw that it might be better. Let's cut this gym time down, so
Mhm.
we can have some time together, and I can do both. And it
Mhm.
worked out. It worked out in that case. But I understand. It took a while for me to understand. I have to make room for this.
Eh,
you know, this person is not complaining about something that's just silly. It made sense. So, but again, it didn't happen overnight.
and I hear that a lot and have a video that I've already like kind of mapped out that I'm going to do in regards to video games, because I hear a lot. Okay, let's see what Ruth said. Yes, dear, I'll do this every Friday, and my spouse supports me with it. Shouldn't have to give up something you love to be with someone. Compromise and ultimatums. Yeah, ultimatums definitely don't work. Like they just
hmm
they end up not making the communication that is necessary be clear. But
Right.
it's also an empty argument. So I want to use video games as an example. A lot of times people want to
Mm,
argue or pick that the video game is like in the way, but what the reframe of that is, yes, just like Daryl, you gave the example of the gym. The person who likes video gaming may be playing a game a long amount of time, but they have to figure out how they can have a buffer of time for the video game as well as creating, balance in their
right.
relationship
hmm
versus, and I've
hmm
seen this on some video that was shared where the female identified partner would break the machine, the gaming machine,
hmm hmm
because they
hmm
felt that the person was spending too much time playing games. What makes, and you probably like, okay, is Mary co-signing games? I'm not necessarily co-signing games, but the thing is that we have to look at the game a little bit differently, because that is a part of people's coping skills and their self-regulation, and it
Yes.
gives them that breathing room to kind of like separate from whatever challenges, whatever ways that they was pulled in different directions in life. And they just might need a reset of 30 minutes. They might need an hour versus the 3 hours, but it's how you bring it up to them. They're going to be like, why are you taking my game away? The game is all I have. The game is probably all you have. But also, we need to learn how to communicate and talk with each other better. But I'm going to give you that space when you come in to play the game for 30 minutes, an hour, 15 minutes, whatever minutes that it is that you need, because that's what the person needs to kind of have as their coping and reset before they can kind of like detach from whatever stressed them out through the day outside of the house, to be able to be present for you in this relationship and in whatever it is that we have to do. So it's like you have to kind of be real creative on how you reshape, re-identify what some of these healthy behaviors and actions are, because they're going to look different. They're not going to necessarily look like what your parents did or what your aunt and uncles did in your formative
Right.
years, because life is very, very different these days.
So let's kind of get back to the healthy. What's the healthy relationship look like? Or what's the
I
what
just
we
gave
kind of a
an
definition?
example.
Well, that was. We gotta be more like kind of like to the point.
Shorter.
We don't. Yeah, we just kind of search for it. So I
Right.
just something like what I looked and saw something that said a healthy relationship involves honesty, trust, respect, open communication between partners, and they take effort and compromise from both people. There is no imbalance of power. Partners respect each other's independence, can make their own decisions without fear of retaliation, and sharing decisions. So I think that kind of sets the groundwork for what it is, even if you can input it or how you, but pretty much those things are a big part of what we would consider healthy.
Right. Right. And if you have trust issues, that's a current issue for the relationship, but it's also fabric to previous situations that you had where trust was broken, and you carrying that baggage into this relationship.
Right.
You're not even giving the person the opportunity to show you trust and show you love and be authentic with you, because you're just accustomed to possibly self-sabotaging, or nobody ever, really trusting your boundaries the way that you want them to be trusted.
Right. Right.
Was
Right.
that shorter enough?
That was cool.
Okay.
They both were cool. I just wanted to, for the people in the back, give us
For
up
the
for the people
people
in
in
the
the
back.
back. Right, 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 right.
So, like I said, so when you don't have any of these things, the relationship can be off balance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the more these things affect the relationship, it can become very unhealthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, once that relationship ends, um, if these things aren't resolved, like you said, when we go to the next relationship, we may carry them over,
Mm-hmm.
or it may make it very difficult for you to be in another relationship due to maybe things that you're harboring from the previous relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Which hence the question kind of like, how do I, I was in a very, I can't remember the terminology they use. What's it,
It was abusive. They said they were in.
unhealthy
How do
or,
they open their
okay, it's
heart?
abusive. Okay.
How do they open their heart
Right.
after, again, after being in an abusive situation? And yeah, like,
And we don't know how long, we don't know the time
right.
frame, but all that matters too because the longer you're in there, meaning that you probably trusted this person, you love this person probably said they loved you,
Mm-hmm.
and now this is how they showed you they loved you by these acts. Um, so that's a lot of things, and put that on. And I don't know how you grew up because if you've seen these things growing up,
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of part of you as well, and it's just reiterated with this relationship. Is very, how do you break that cycle now? How do you go to that next relationship and not carry this baggage and let it control your thoughts and
Right.
feelings?
And I think even another layer to what you were just saying about, not knowing how they were brought up, it might not even be the person that was raising them, but it could be the person that was their caretaker, or if they were
Mm,
groomed for some unhealthy interaction, and they begin to
right,
equate that as love, or equate that as appropriate boundaries for a relationship. So it's like a
right,
twofold, depending on your previous experience and exposure, and how you have learned what a healthy relationship looks like, which in our families, our brown and black families, we don't always have a model or a book that we can kind of follow.
right.
And then as life
So I
evolves,
guess
the people who we had as a model, we like, oh no, they got different layers to their life that we ain't know about. I don't know, we want, which version of them do we want? And then we're trying to regulate, but it's like
right.
things change
So
over
we'll
time.
say, so I guess we'll try to look at it from the point you were in an abusive relationship, you just got out. Um, what do you do?
You take that
What
breathing
would you
room that you
suggest they
mentioned
do?
earlier. You mentioned breathing
Right.
room earlier in regards to showing up and being present for a relationship. The
Hmm.
relationship now that it's important, if you've been in an abusive relationship and you're trying to heal, you need that
Hmm.
breathing room of loving yourself and embracing spending time with yourself, and that feels like you're losing something because that's not the narrative that society drives. Society drives,
Right.
oh, well, it's been a couple months. You need to just move on and go out and have a little
The
Vegas
best,
night.
right. The best way to get over something to get under somebody. That's what they tell the women, right?
That is
You
something
know,
that is said.
that is. So I was I was looking at something and it said that you need to actually do like a self assessment, and they said there's some like from trauma, excuse me. There's some common effects that may happen to you that you should look out for, like trouble sleeping, panic attacks or anxiety,
Mhm.
substance use if you see yourself trying to cope with different substances, um, eating disorders, if you're having flashbacks of the violence, the sexual violence, the physical violence, the name, whatever it is, if you're having flashbacks,
Mhm.
if you're feeling self hate and low about this, at that time, fearing people and relationships. If you're just afraid of getting involved with people, afraid of getting in relationships, that's a sign that there may be something going on.
Right.
And suicidal thoughts. So like these things, if you're experiencing these things, it's first understand it's a normal occurrence. This is what kind of happens after these things. So you're not crazy. You're not. The
Right.
PTSD is real. These things happen, right?
Mhm.
But what we need to do at this point now is get to talk to somebody, right? You,
Right.
you need to start find someone to talk to, and try to get that whatever your social connection is. If you have a social connection that is you feel is healthy, get
Mhm.
around those people too. Get around those people too as well. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to isolate at this time, right? Okay.
Correct. But no,
Okay.
correct,
Just checking.
correct. I was thinking about, like, sometimes you have to separate from those who were in your table and in your squad, because
Right.
they will try to recreate the reasons why you should be still in that relationship, because
Right.
possibly
Right.
if it was an abusive situation, no matter what type of abuse, that person is still trying to seek you to get your attention.
Right.
And
Right. 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 Right.
if you're having a hard time with anything, like financially being stable, or that midnight hour when you have a certain itch and you don't want to just go out any old where, like, it's those are the spectrums that make you kind of fall back into something that's unhealthy. But the thing about it is that there's other ways to kind of nurture yourself. And I'm not just speaking from the intimate aspect, but in the healing, you can't always find a therapist, because
Right.
mental health is real out in these streets. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say that could be the end goal, in your breathing room that you take for yourself. But you can replace your time or create a schedule that has exercising. You can do journaling. You can find, like, if it's a Zumba class or some kind of something that's going to keep you active and busy within reason to your schedule, so that you don't have so much downtime that it allows you to kind of dwell and default to what was. And then the thing
Right.
too is, don't be shaming yourself. I know that was like all
Right.
ebonics the way I said that, but shame is not a part of this conversation. Although you may hear a lot of shame bashing type comments, and so you just
Right.
kind of have to prepare yourself for what that truly looks like,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to stay strong. And how you stay strong is who you have around you. If it's somebody
Right.
who's always on the default and going back into stuff that's not good, that might not be the friend that you want to be around at this particular time. Or be very protective on what it is that you share with them, because again, yes, therapy would be a great tool, but therapists are not always available to people.
Right.
I mean, that's the
Right. Right.
reality.
Right. And
Um,
I would say, not to cut you off, if you got a friend, you got to protect what you say to them. I don't know how much of a friend that is, right? So keep that acquaintance at acquaintance type thing. So if you're going out or doing something cool, but don't get to a point where you have to share or want to share with somebody, because that's not the person, right? That's not the
right.
person to call when you're going through it. Find that friend that you can trust. Hopefully, you have a friend that you can really trust, someone you
Mhm.
respect their opinions um, and judgments, and that's the person you want to stick to as much as possible.
Mhm.
Uh, but if they're trying to tell you to go back to a situation, something like that, then that's not even. I don't care who they are. That's not what you should do, right?
Right.
I don't care how
Right.
much you respect their judgment. So it's tough. You got to really use that discernment at that point, which might be off a little bit because you're in your situation, which makes it tough because you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of off right now. You're off. You just got out of this thing. You might be off a little bit, but like Mary said, don't shame yourself. No matter how long you stayed in something or whatever the case may be, it's not. You went through it and you got out of it. That's what you. That's the power you stick. I got away from whatever it was. However long
Mm-hmm.
it took, you did it. You stood up and got away from it. Um, so yeah, no shame.
And one of the other things too society does, which is kind of in the shame family, is if you are of a certain age, like if you're young, they're like, oh no, that was a great relationship. Look at all that you had, house, car, promises, a
Right.
vacation, stuff like that.
Right. Right. Right.
And not to say that that can't be the same type of, I guess, dangling carrot for you as an older person, but then sometimes the script flips with you recognizing that you'd be like, well, the abuse didn't happen all the time. And again, we're not just talking about one form of abuse. Like it could be a variety of different
Just
things.
abuse, period.
Just abuse,
Verbal, right.
period.
It could be
Right.
anything, anything. Right, right,
That they'll say, well, at your age, are you gonna be able to find anybody? Because these, as we said, somewhere in these internet streets, um, they be saying that people are not available or that there's no good men or good women available. And it's like people are trying to heal before they can be available to a relationship. And you should be doing that too if you're out strategically looking. I think it should just happen naturally. That's just
right,
me. It should just happen naturally. And you should just be in your purpose as you heal, whatever your purpose is, and allowing it to kind of naturally occur. But I know that, that don't work for everybody. They be like, I need a
right.
profile on Bumble and all these other places because they got to
Don't
engineer
don't
it to
shame
something.
people.
I'm not shaming
It's okay.
people.
I think that's natural too. All right. The
It
new
is
natural is you go in there and you pick what you want and you pick a number five and you see
Tinder.
if it likes you and hopefully it likes you back. Whatever it is. I don't know. Whatever you use, you pick a number five or number whatever you pick. Like I like this one and hope they like you back. I mean, whatever you do, I think like I said, it should be a thing where you're ready. And I think that you should be as healthy as possible before you
Mhm,
move on. So if you're experiencing any of those things we said before, maybe it's not time to move into a relationship.
mhm,
You might want to just work on healing first, um, and finding out and start asking yourself those questions. What do I want in a relationship? Because I think, or what a healthy relationship looks like. Because a lot of times you ask a person what they want in a relationship, they don't really know. They may say some general Disney type stuff, but when
with
you
the
like,
Disney stuff
what
like
is a
six
relationship? You
two,
should
muscular, nice car,
right, white picket
like
fence. He gonna pick you up. He gonna pick you up on a horse. Like, come on,
right.
shut up. It's not gonna happen,
He
right?
gonna be at the
So
beach
let's
or
be
in the
realistic.
park.
Right. Let's be more realistic in our goals about what we want, or just know what we want. And
Mhm,
then knowing what we want, also knowing what we don't want. So we should know our non-negotiables, right? So we
right.
should be healthy enough to say, look, I'm looking for this, 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 and this, and I don't want this, this. It's okay to say I don't want certain things. I don't want people with kids. I don't want people who smoke. I don't want people who drink. And you can't falter on your values, right? Because you start doing that, then if you're lying to
Then they
yourself,
not
how
your
can
value.
you be strong enough to stand up for anything else? Right? Yeah,
Mhm,
right. So I think that heal and then know what we want in our relationships, right?
mhm,
And if
mhm,
someone doesn't have that, don't try to put them in a box they're not in. A lot of times I see people, what happens is they're meeting people and they're trying to make them something that they're not.
mhm.
They're trying to make this person tells you in the beginning, they may tell you, I don't do such and such. But you're like, they're probably going to do it. Or they're going to do it. And you try to make, and then when they don't do it, it becomes a problem. Like, if someone tells you something, kind of believe it. Don't, I think, like I said, we just want healthy. And if you're healthy in the beginning, that'll help you continue to be healthy.
But realize, like you just shared, you're going to get tested on some of those values that you said, and
Absolutely.
you got to be
Absolutely.
prepared that when you get tested, that you stay true or remember what it is you said was your reality and
Hmm.
your non-negotiable, because the person may have known when you said it before, that wasn't something that they were down with, but they figured that after they take you out to a couple places and they wine and dine you, or we slip and slide and do whatever, that they will be able to persuade your mind to do something different. And so, just because they're going along to get along
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean that they agree, unless you have that mature conversation to just call it out, the pink elephant in the middle of the room, which is another
Right.
way
Right.
that makes sure
Right.
that you're
Right.
experiencing like a healthy relationship. Like, instead of just saying, this is what I want, ask them, what does that look like for them? How would they
Absolutely right.
experience that, working it out with them,
Absolutely. Hmm.
instead of them just saying absolutely, or that they agree.
No, that's real. I think we get a lot of trouble because we're talking about the same thing, but we're not meaning the same thing.
Correct.
When we talk about certain things, oh, I want to be happy. I want to be happy too. Look, we're the same. No, what's happiness look like to you? Because it could be very different, very, very
Yeah.
different. So now, once you get into it, you see their happiness is a lot different than your happiness, and now you guys don't connect because you never really went to the details.
Mhm.
It's in the details. You need to know exactly what that means. And so I'm a big component of now asking, well, what does that mean, or how does
Mhm.
that look? So
Mhm.
we know, so we can know if we're on the same page or not, or if there's something that we need to talk about. You know,
And if the person pauses when you ask them, what does it look like? I'm not saying to shame them, but give them that time. Even if they say
right,
they need
right,
to think about it, like, they might really need to think about it because nobody else has held them accountable to have this
right.
real conversation to say what it looks like to them. And so
Mhm,
if they don't
mhm.
have it, don't go chasing them and badgering them around of, you better give me my answer and give me my answer right now. No, breathing room. Breathing
Right,
room is great.
right, right. We have learned to be so surface, and we don't even understand we're so surface in everything we do. But and these questions we answer the question, but sometimes we never really think about it. When you really think about it, you're like, wait a minute, I don't really know what I want. I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know what that looks like. I want to be happy. I want to be in a
Right.
healthy relationship because everyone says that. Who doesn't? I haven't met anyone yet that says, I want to be in an unhealthy
I want to be
relationship
in a
and
toxic,
unhappy.
yes, I want to be
Yeah,
in a
yes.
toxic
No one.
relationship.
I've never heard that everyone says I want to be in a healthy, happy relationship,
Hmm.
but they don't know what that means. When you ask them questions, you're like, well, I don't, if I get upset, I can yell at people, huh? Wait a minute, that'll work. But
Right.
then that's why you need to get in the details to see what. And I mean, we need. For me, I like asking those questions, like, what does arguing look like to you? How do you feel about name calling? All these things are important. I need to know these things up front now. So
Mhm.
you should know again what you need to know, what affects you. You ask those questions,
Right.
and then as things come up, you ask the questions, ask more questions. But again, the key is asking questions because people usually, for the most part, will tell you with what they say and sometimes what they don't say. Right. So if you really
Correct.
listen, sometimes you can hear, and what people don't say, they can say a lot.
Correct. Correct. So, Daryl, let me ask you a question, of something that was recently experienced. Talking to someone, and they find out age differences is close, and no children, seem like an ideal person to connect with. If you've just been talking for 10 minutes, is the name now, do you now create pet names, and is that creating a healthy relationship or an unhealthy relationship? Like, just because you feel like it's some synergy going on.
So I don't know. I'm not a name type creating a person. So I don't, even like someone like Babe and all that type of stuff, that's just not me. So
Mhm.
in 10 minutes, if you, I don't know, it could be funny. I mean, maybe something about you like that I don't know the pet name. What did it symbolize? I would have to know more. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily think it was crazy to have a little pet name to someone. Only because I mean I think we name everybody anyway. Like when I talk about I met the teacher John, like everybody is something. We don't never say their name, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh Walmart. I was with Walmart last night. And whatever it is in the story that clicks is
Right,
what we attach to. So
right.
as I said, I wouldn't necessarily think it was crazy, unless I felt like it was like the person was in love in 10 minutes type thing. Now that's a little different. Like, oh my God, Boo Bear, I can't believe it. Huh? Boo
Okay, so like
Bear?
yeah,
Hey,
so let me
I heard
give you
enough.
5 more minutes of the conversation. I gave you 10 minutes of the
Okay.
conversation, but then in the next five, oh well, distance is not an issue because I'll be back at XYZ and we could possibly get married because we both want to be married. Did you ask me if I want to be married? Or like did you ask if that was a goal?
So this is my thing. She's
Hey
telling
Doc,
you everything, or he's telling you
Hey,
everything. Hey Doc, hey girl,
happy anniversary.
thank
it's our
you.
anniversary. Yeah, you and me. uh, yes, I'm
So
glad you
Yeah.
Daryl,
made
you
it.
were speaking.
Huh?
Daryl, what Daryl was speaking.
Glad you
I'm
made it.
sorry.
Oh yeah, so I think she's telling you, or he's telling you a lot of things about him, and I would at that point be like, "Hey, good luck." That's just too much,
Mm-hmm.
too fast. I'm not really sure that person's a stage 5 clinger, and I'm good. I'm I'm good on that. That doesn't even make rational sense. I know why you're alone now.
Pretty much.
Hey,
Pretty much.
Neil, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I
Um,
was having my anniversary dinner.
Mm.
awesome, awesome, awesome.
So
Yeah,
that's what they do for anniversaries now, huh? Gotcha.
She like,
yeah.
I don't know. So Doc, we in the identifying like the unhealthy relationships. Like what is we've given some examples, but we were trying to give like some more examples, I
Right.
guess, about like what is unhealthy and abusive because it's arbitrary because abuse shows up in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. We didn't share a lot of nuggets really. I was going to
Okay.
run
Right.
them
So
all
you
down.
just got to listen in and jump in the rope.
All
You just got to
right.
listen and
All
jump in the
right.
rope and catch up. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So, but yeah,
Okay.
with that person, I would think that that's a little bit um, like we can get married. Like now, first of all, now are they being serious? Are they joking? I don't know. Right.
You don't know in
Um,
the DM.
and I don't, huh?
You don't
This is
know in
all
the
in DM.
DM.
So, and the other thing is, I don't know what the conversation was like because we don't know what that person said to also maybe yield these results from the other person, right? So if
Okay,
you're
so
talking crazy to somebody too, right? Because we hear one side of a story a lot of time, right? And people tell you
absolutely.
how the other person is like, yo, she crazy. She was talking about getting married in 3 days. But were you egging that on? Like, what were you really doing? Because if this person is really doing that, then that's somebody who has some other issues, and I would have to say, let's fall back.
Right.
So if they said that and you're still talking to them, why? Because you want to get married in 3 days? Because this person already telling you what they want.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of agreeing to what they
In
want by
15
continuing
minutes,
to
you
talk.
agree to that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you're not saying no, right? You know what I mean? If you're not saying what are you talking about? There ain't nobody doing that. No, stop. If you're not saying that, then you're agreeing to that.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying what they're saying is okay because you're not. Again, anytime we go along with something, or kind of don't say something, you allow that person to think it's okay to do what they're doing. So you're a part of that problem. So when she
Mm-hmm.
shows up with the dress, the rice, and the ring, you earn that. You earn that.
Right. Right. It goes back to that pink elephant in the room. Like if you're not
Right.
stopping it right in the beginning, and then the next day
Right
you
in the
get that
beginning.
hey message and you respond to that
Right.
hey message the next day, you are saying, yeah, let's go down this unhealthy journey because I already know if we want to say
You're
unequally yoked, I'm not going to say that, but like people may say unequally yoked or an imbalance. You're
mhm.
clingy.com is what you are, and have a
Right.
Mm-hmm.
that is
And
really showing
you saying, hey, sign that contract for the day before. You signed it with hey. Hey back. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, beautiful? You just said everything you said the day before, which is all written down, is okay.
Mhm.
You didn't. They can go back to it. They can say we got receipts. I said right here we'll get married next time I come up. You didn't say you wasn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, again, this is why we have to have a voice. And if we don't like something or something's not, to our, just say, hey, look, I'm not really about getting married in 10 minutes. It's not really what I'm trying to do. And
I want to jump in here because I think that people forget it's a lot easier to be direct and um uh
Forthcoming, forthcoming in the beginning.
forthcoming in the beginning. That's the
Mhm.
Yep.
time. That is
Right.
the time where you could be whoever you want to be. You
Exactly.
can be, you can be, the person who speaks their mind, because I've seen it so many times where once you develop feelings for a person or you
Mhm.
fall in love, it becomes so much more difficult to speak your mind and to say, I'm not with all the things you s- quietly agreed to.
Right.
Now, can I jump in? See, that's already unhealthy, right? Anytime you
Mhm,
get to the point, we said it earlier, where you can't speak your mind or you feel that you can speak your mind for whatever reason, because
For
obviously you're not
whatever
speaking it for
reason.
some reason. So whatever the reason is, that's unhealthy already,
mhm,
right? Because you're not in a place where you can freely be able to express whatever you're feeling,
mhm,
right? And,
I
and,
think
and
it
that's a problem.
I think
mhm,
it probably also goes back to what we were saying earlier in regards to you think that if you say something, you are leveraging between what you may lose by saying
mhm,
something,
mhm,
as
Right,
opposed
right,
to
right.
saying, okay, I could really recreate whatever this loss is going to be in a
mhm,
different way because I want to hold my voice. I want my voice
mhm,
to
Mm,
kind of matter in this situation.
mhm. And yeah, and a lot of times
very
people
interesting.
say, "Well, I'll wait," because of those things they're leveraging it against. Say, "Well, I'll
Right.
wait and I'll speak on it later,"
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
later never really comes.
Mm-mm.
And that's again unhealthy thoughts because again we need to the sooner you get something out the better, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Because if I get it
Hmm.
out now, we most likely hopefully we can work through it or
Mhm,
make them aware. They might be like, oh, I didn't know. But the
mhm,
Hmm.
longer someone is allowed to do something and it becomes a conditioned response. It's really difficult to break now. You're the
mhm.
problem because I've been doing it for 10 years. Why are you gonna bring it up
Yes.
now? Right?
Yes.
Why are you gonna bring it
It
up
worked
now?
for you then.
Mhm,
Right. So at that point, it's kind of you created a situation, you created an environment that is going to be even, like you said, more difficult to change now than maybe it would have been in the beginning.
mhm,
Right,
Right.
right.
mhm,
And
And I'm
we need to start thinking that way. That if something's bothering us, we should be able to say it and get it out instead of trying to hold it in. Because holding anything is not going to work for long.
mhm,
It's really
thinking,
going to become a problem for us. Even if the other person doesn't know, it's going to be a problem for us because we're holding it in like, oh, I want to say this so bad, but I can't. Like this, so that
because
becomes
we
a
might go
problem
to
for
the best
you.
restaurant and I got on my dress and my perfume and did all this to
Right.
get ready. I don't want to waste and mess up the night. Like I'm gonna just
mhm,
go through it, and then of course the
mhm.
night is going to distract you all the way,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
it's
Right.
going to create
Right.
more time. That's not the
Yes.
right breathing time that we've been talking about
Hmm.
taking.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
in that place, you're creating an unhealthy relationship because of you know you keeping your mouth closed. Because the other
Mhm.
person doesn't know what's going on, and that everything comes out in certain in a way. So you're not talking, and you're getting frustrated. It's going to come out in you didn't put the top on the peanut butter.
Mhm.
It's gonna come out in something silly, right? Because you're mad at something else, but you can't really talk about that. But you can say you left the refrigerator door open again. You're gonna do that. This is what
You
you're
ain't
gonna do.
wash the dishes, or you ain't take the
You
trash
understand,
out. All these
right?
empty
Mhm.
arguments and conversations.
You gonna
Mhm.
slam the door all loud like that. I was trying to sleep. You just arguing over dumb stuff now.
Mhm.
Oh, you get up to go to work early
Done
today,
stuff,
huh?
but it's
Wait,
easier
what?
than the real stuff.
Right.
Yes.
But but
Yes.
it doesn't help. It still makes it more of a problem because now I'm like, you tripping over a door? Like, what's wrong with you? Now I'm in a bad mood. I'm thinking, I can't believe she, but the door slamming. I didn't slam the door that hard. So we create a whole nother problem.
And then
But
like,
like
okay,
Mary said, those things are a lot easier to argue about.
exactly.
You
Exactly.
know.
Right,
Because
right,
I
right,
think
right.
like the real aha moment in my experience, and I'm sure Doc has the same experience, that when you pull the veil back in a session for a couple and say, do you guys realize that that's the empty conversation, that the real conversation is X, Y, and Z? They're like,
Right.
we do that all the time. How long y'all been
Mhm.
having this dance that y'all doing it all the time?
Mm.
Mhm.
So I think
Ah, okay. Have a little differing opinion over here.
I think waiting can be just as healthy because waiting for me is making sure this is the person that you want to open up to. Absolutely.
Waiting for what? I'm sorry. What are we talking
Like
about in reference to what?
I guess going challenging. I don't know if I want to say challenging. Just giving a different side to why a person will wait. Like why
Wait
that
to
will be
tell somebody
considered.
something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Wait,
that's what
so that's healthy?
I
That's
think
never
that's what
healthy.
she meant. Well,
I don't think that's healthy at all. In the beginning is when you building your base for your relationship. Everything's gonna be
Mhm.
built off that, right? So if
mm-hmm,
you let a weak brick in the beginning, because you let something go, that could be
mm-hmm,
a problem down the road. For me, I'm saying I've seen it happen. Anytime you don't say something that you want or whatever in the beginning, that can down the road can become a problem. If in the
mm-hmm,
beginning you say, like I said, I have nothing invested in this, I can tell you exactly what I want and what I don't want. If you're not on the same page, thank you, right? Thank you. Then we can go our separate ways. There's no feelings or no hard feelings, and nothing lost. But if I wait to tell you that something, and we have feelings, what if you're like, well, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Now what are you gonna do? You have feelings involved. Did that make you make a decision that's unwise that could down the road be more of a problem? So I don't
and
know about
Mhm.
waiting
depending on
to
Mhm.
your
me.
health meter, like as far as where you are in the healing process,
Look.
I'm sorry, it's all good. Depending on where you are in the
Sneaking,
healthy
sneaking.
meter, right? You're like, I need to sip on that. Depending on
I
where
never
you
seen
are
people
in
drink
the
soda out of a cup like that.
It's my anniversary.
right, it's sip and chat.
It's her anniversary. Yeah, you and me.
I done forgot what I was gonna say. But I forgot what I was gonna say.
Something in reference to
What I
waiting.
want to say is I think that sometimes people choose waiting as a way to manipulate.
Mm.
Hmm. Tell me more.
I
It's
mean,
kind
I'll go out and I don't usually like to disclose my own personal stuff,
it's not
So
but
about
don't.
choosing about somebody who you know.
yeah, somebody I know
Mhm.
dated someone when they were young,
Hmm.
and this person never told them that they were actually married
Mhm.
because it didn't seem that they were married. They were doing things that
Right. 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 Right.
that
Right. Right.
single people do.
Right.
And when the person finally told the person that they were married, they said, "Well, I didn't tell you because I knew you were the kind of person that wouldn't have dealt with me if I told you.
Right.
And
Right.
I wanted to wait until you were in love with me
Mm.
before
Right.
I told
Mm.
Exactly. So I don't see any healthy in
Shenanigans.com.
waiting.
you."
Right. Right. Well, he
So
said
I
he
mean,
didn't
and
tell
so
because he was
some people
shy.
use not what some people use waiting as a way to manipulate and a way to control a
Right.
Right.
situation.
Waiting or lying. It's the same different, right? If I'm withholding information that I
Yeah.
That's
know is
manipulating
going to
too.
be pivotal, right? If I, like I said, I know people like, oh, I'm talking too much. I don't want to tell you that. I don't know how you feel about me. Hey, I need to know that now. Don't tell
Mhm.
me that later. Tell me that now so I can tell you how I feel about you.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying you tell everything.
It takes away the other person's choices sometimes.
Right.
Right.
Right. And I'm not
Right.
saying you tell
And you
everything.
might already know that taking away that person's choices is going to be a trigger for the
Mhm.
relationship changing altogether. And you like
Mhm.
walking on eggshells or, in anxiousness of what's going to happen next.
Mhm.
Right, right, right. Yeah, that's not
Mhm.
okay. So, I mean,
Mm-mm.
and I'm not saying tell everything in the first 10 minutes. I'm not saying that. I
Right.
think it's
Right.
definitely a time. So waiting to tell certain things, I think it progresses. It's a progression.
Mhm.
As you
Mhm.
get in a little more, you tell a little bit more, tell a little bit more. But I do think you need to come in the beginning knowing kind of what you want and what you don't want.
I know
More
in
so
the
what you
first 10
don't want.
minutes you need to be telling somebody you married.
You not in the first 10 minutes when I say, hey, how you doing? I'm married. Here's my ring, because that needs to come up immediately.
Mhm.
Like, hey, I'm a Virgo. I like taking a long walk to the beach. I'm married. They all go in the same sentence, right? You need to
Right.
get that
Yeah.
in there,
And if you
Yeah.
just so the
continue,
person.
that goes right to what we were saying. If you respond to the hey, if you continue the conversation after that, you co-signing, you saying that
Right.
it's okay.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. That's right.
Like,
You
Right.
want
yeah.
that married penis or vagina? I get it. I get it. You know, if
Some
you keep
people
talking
really
after they say they
value
married,
the unavailable penis and
Yes, some
vagina.
people
Like some
do.
people really
oh,
Yes,
it works.
some people do.
It works for them. You know, they don't want to have
Mhm.
all. They just
until
want
it ain't
the
never end
fun.
mutually though. I'm sorry,
Well, it's
Daryl.
tough. Yeah. No, you're right. It's tough for it to end because you know it's a lot going on. Could end with your
But
windows
yeah,
broke,
I didn't know that that
tire
was a
slash.
thing. But that is really a thing.
What you mean a
What?
thing?
People
That
not
people like
That
lying.
unavailable?
people
People lying.
seek attached people.
Mm-hmm. It's a
People
whole
seek
thing.
attached people because they
Yeah, it's
don't want
called
commitment.
Right.
unhealthy people seek
Yes.
attached people. But
Yes.
yeah, I get it.
Yes.
It's unhealthy. I don't get, and you people may think I'm gonna let you know it's unhealthy. No, you haven't got said. If you're seeking someone else who's already attached, which means that relationship can produce really nothing but chaos, drama, and love and hip hop. That's unhealthy. It's unhealthy. So
You
I'm
said
going to limit
chaos,
it as
drama,
unhealthy.
and love and hip
Love
hop.
and hip hop.
Yeah.
That sounds like that
Yes.
should be a name of another show.
For real.
You know, you are looking for unhealthiness. Like there's nothing healthy about that, right? And that's crazy. I can't even understand why someone wouldn't want to do. I mean, I get some reasons why, the up, but then the negative seems like it outweighs the good parts.
But the
Yeah,
negative is
some
But yes,
people are
arbitrarily
serious.
defined by what's negative to you and not necessarily what's negative to them.
Some people
no, a
are
brick through my window of my
serial.
car is negative.
Some,
Okay,
some people are
my
serial
tires being
side doing.
slashed.
Yeah.
My tires being slashed is negative. I mean, that's never positive. I'm taking money out. So those things are negative, and it could happen. You know,
Right.
somebody approaching me and shop right because my woman or my man. That's no good. Those things can happen.
Right.
Um,
And that's an
so
abusive relationship too, like approaching people and slicing tires and stalking them and
It's
stuff.
craziness. Who has time for
well,
all of
I
that?
think
People.
Well, no, I shouldn't even say that
the
because a
wife
lot of
the
people
wife
do.
the
A
wife
lot of
has
people
time
do.
for it. She has time. The wife said, "I got time today." Since you want to cheat, I got time tomorrow too. And the next day if you want to keep it up.
And
Yeah,
you
people
know
do
that's
that.
the that,
Isn't
that
that
stuff
movie
is
Why Did I Get Married?
right.
When she
Yes.
came back in
Right.
the house and had to take care of him.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
no, that was
I can do all bad all by
Diary
myself.
of a Mad Black Woman.
Diary
I
of a
Black
think.
Mad
woman,
Black
yeah,
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 Woman.
one of
Right,
them,
right.
yeah.
one of them.
But I don't understand. I don't know. I don't understand that. Like, why not just get out? Just walk away. This is the opportunity to get out.
And Doc, it's not
With
that easy.
what? Understand what? Get out of what? What are we getting out of?
Why
Which
people
part are you
why
talking about?
people go through all of that? I mean, you find out your mate is cheating, so now you calling everybody. You I don't know. You slashing tires. You breaking windows.
Because you're hurt.
Yeah, but say
You
hurt people want to hurt other people, especially the
You
person
hurt.
that they
Your
want to
trust has
blame.
been violated. You saw
okay?
other
Right.
people
And,
break
Okay.
windows out the
and
car like Jasmine Sullivan.
and
I mean,
I
Yeah.
was saying this is a learned thing too in certain communities and eras. And you see this happen, and you like, well, this is what they did. This is love and hip hop stuff. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put sugar in a tank. I'm gonna throw a brick through a window.
I'm gonna need
You
you
know,
to.
it's
And
not.
walking away is one of the most powerful things you can do in those
It is,
situations.
but it doesn't feel powerful because you're not doing anything.
Because then you feel like people took advantage of you, and they just gonna keep
Right.
taking advantage of you. So you
Yeah.
gotta act. You feel that you have to
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
do
I
something.
know. I've
And if
heard the
you don't,
stories.
I know you have.
Heard.
I've heard the
Heard.
stories.
I know
She's
you
But
guys
heard the
wouldn't do
stories
anything
from
like
people
that.
who she know. Yeah, come on,
Yeah, some people
Daryl.
who she knows.
Come
Listen.
on, Daryl.
Not you guys, not you guys, other people. For the
No,
people in the
no,
back of
ah,
the
people in the back.
man.
But I wanted to just share something else too about the if you decide to agree to an unhealthy conversation, like if you respond to that hey and you agree to it, it was something else we said. If you respond to it, oh, he's married or she's married, and you continue to move forward,
Mhm.
that really that person could be collecting receipts of every transaction of something that you did that was opposite of what you expected. And
Mhm.
the it can come back to bite you when you have all of that time built up. If you get cops involved and stuff so forth like that, they can flip the whole script, and now you want to call them narcissists, but they got all the things that you did that they look like you were co-signing.
Oh, yeah, they always
because
have
you
receipts.
agreed to go for you got
Right.
Mhm.
receipts.
Yeah, because that's the first thing they say. Well, I
Get it
told
loose.
him or
That's what I'm
her I
talking
was
about.
married right from the beginning.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that negates anything because you were married, but they were part of it. They
They
can't
were
Mhm.
a
deny
part of
it.
it. They agreed.
They both, they both are very unhealthy people.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when you use certain words and language and you end up co-signing and giving permission and you're engaging and receiving gifts and going out on these dates or
Hmm.
taking
Hmm.
vacations and trips,
Hmm.
like you can't like that's really like a receipt to say I'm okay with whatever else it is. You accepted my apology and I'm able to do it again. I just know how to
Mhm.
Right.
do it differently now because now we had an argument and I know
Mhm.
what it was about this particular behavior that you didn't like, but it still can breed a ground to continue in an unhealthy relationship because now I know that I can buy your forgiveness and buy more time. And it's not necessarily
And
always
we
it's not always a trip, but I'm just saying.
right. And we know the cycle of abuse. We know we know it happens, and then there's the apology, and then the
Hmm.
honeymoon keeps coming back around as the person tries to get back into your good graces. We know
Mhm.
that happens.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of, I guess, helping these people understand that that's what happens, because that is the first thing people will say. Well, he or she apologized. They were so sorry. They cried.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they not understanding that that's part of it.
Right.
It's funny. I was watching what did I watch? Surviving Compton or something like that. Michelle A.
Mm.
story.
Oh yeah.
And she was like the first time, like when Dr. Dre came home, and just beat her up one time, and then after he beat her up, he started crying, and she was
Mhm.
like, he was crying.
Mhm.
I knew he didn't know what he was doing. He
Mhm.
cried,
It
and
wasn't
Mhm.
that
healed.
really pulled her back in.
Mhm.
So it went from her being the victim, now he's the victim, and she's
Mhm.
consoling him after he didn't,
Mhm.
just some uppercuts and wheel kicks to her. It's crazy.
Mhm. Mhm.
A
Yeah.
will kid.
And it seems to go over really well with women. You know,
Well, her
they
story.
cried.
Listen,
He
her
cried.
story. But it's funny. Her story was really interesting because she pointed out how when she was growing up, her mom things they said to her like, "You don't make a man hit you, and if you do, you make up for it."
You
Mhm.
So in
make
her
a man hit
mind,
you.
Mhm.
right, right.
Mhm.
So they
Mhm.
kind of put her in a place where she thought this was a. She accepted all this and
Mhm.
Mhm.
continued to accept it.
Mhm.
And it was. I know she got older. Her grandma was crying like, "Baby, don't. I taught you wrong. I shouldn't have taught you what I taught you. Don't let no man
Mhm.
do this." But her base as a child, she's seen her mom getting beat up, and then her
Mhm.
mom's verbiage was like, "Hey, listen, right." It was on. I just watched it again on Netflix,
Yeah, I
and
saw
it
it.
was crazy. Like you said, it's basically she was told to accept it, and she did because she thought it was what it was. What it was supposed to be.
Mhm.
So that was really
Mhm.
crazy, but it was ingrained in her.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
she was perfect for these men because even the next relationship again abusive.
Yeah, the next one
Um,
was the same way.
Right.
right. It was perfect for her. They were perfect because
Mhm.
she was like, I'm gonna take it, and because it's I'm supposed to. And now she
Mhm.
got strong, she got healthy, got help, and she's strong now. But it's tough because when you're raised to be this way, it's really tough to outdo that base you have to accept certain things.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think I want to change well challenge the words raised to be this way. You raised to what you know and what you see. Like yes, they planted the seed. You know what I mean? For
Mm-hmm.
her to think that that's what was acceptable, but so it's like she's just doing what she knows until
Right.
she decided to learn something or life happened where she just learned something different, but that language, you don't ever make a man. No, a
Mm.
man
Right.
has
Right.
coping skills.
And that's what they
Right. Right.
say.
Right. Right.
See what you made me do.
Right,
Right. Right.
right,
Mhm.
Right.
right, right. Whew.
Mhm.
Good Lord. So, Doc, we had mentioned some of the that sometimes a therapist is not always available, although that could be the ideal way to kind of go through your journey and be able to live life a little differently. what would be some things that you would suggest as far as before you get to therapy, because it might be a waiting list, that you could do in your healing journey? I shared exercise, journaling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are two I can remember off the top of my head. I don't know if they'll remember I said anything else.
Well, what we didn't say, we could say, I could jump in real fast. How about we could do embrace some positive affirmations. The
Mm-hmm.
person can start just speaking to themselves, speaking life into themselves,
Mm-hmm.
speaking, into, listen, I am not my past. I am beautiful. I am
Mm-hmm.
strong. I did get out of it. So we can start to speak positive into ourselves, and build ourselves up. That's one way, something we could do.
Mm-hmm. Mhm. And I think the other thing that kind of coincides with journaling and affirmations is tracking your thoughts.
Yes.
Track your thoughts, when you come into these situations that are uncomfortable for you, like because you want to know what you think about yourself. You want
Mm-hmm.
to know what you think about the world,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times when you come out of those relationships, it's hard to trust.
Absolutely.
It's really hard
Absolutely.
to feel like the world is a good place.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think about, really check yourself and relearn yourself,
Right.
how you think about
Right. Right.
yourself,
Right.
how you think about the world, how do you think about other people.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And sometimes, as you're doing this and this tracking, you have to go back and look at those things because on this journey, you're changing the way that you think.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're changing this thought from the world is a bad place to maybe, some of the world is a bad place. The world is the okay place. I can be okay in this world.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Hey, Tanya.
Tanya.
Yes.
So
Something else
definitely
out.
go
Okay,
ahead,
go ahead,
Daryl.
man. No, something else I saw. They said, be creative, create something, make things.
Mm-hmm.
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 Making something from scratch that you did, something you did. So painting a picture,
Mm-hmm.
creating some type of art,
Mm-hmm.
gardening, or something like that. Make something
Mm-hmm.
Right.
that it's like wow, I made this. I can create something beautiful. That also is
Mm-hmm.
something you can do. And like I said, we have to occupy that time with something too. Sitting around doing
Mm-hmm.
nothing is not good because sometimes being alone with your thoughts is
Mm-hmm.
not the best thing all the time. So we do
Mm-hmm.
need sometimes to have some distractions away from things, doing some positive things. You get your life back doing positive things.
Mm-hmm.
You feel better. You have positive things around you that can help you and your emotions and just feeling better and being more positive.
And
And while you're doing all this stuff, learn what a healthy relationship is.
for
Right.
you,
Learn what a healthy
for
yes,
you, defined by you, yes.
learn what a healthy
Mhm.
relationship is
Mhm.
for you. Learn what a healthy relationship look like. Now we know that there are some general guidelines too
Mm-hmm.
of a
Right.
healthy relationship. So
Yes,
you
we read them
should
earlier.
learn those things because it is once you've been in that kind of relationship, it's so
Coming
easy
at Dr.
the
No,
pattern.
no, 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 no. I'm just saying we brought the general things up earlier. Uh,
Go
while
ahead,
you
But
at
Tanya.
once
your
you
anniversary,
shut up.
yeah,
Once
just
you've been in
you
that
and
type of
me.
relationship, it's so easy to repeat that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's important to, know what it looks like, when you see it. And
Mm-hmm.
know the
Well,
signs of what, I mean, notice the basic signs of what a healthy person does.
Right. And what works for
mm,
you? Because it might be 10 things on the list and only four things work for you from that list, or four
listen,
things
before you
that you
start
are
looking for somebody
interested
else,
in
be,
doing.
be, before you look for someone else, please try to heal first, right?
Yes.
Heal.
Yes.
Because I think we're out here and people are thinking they're ready to get in relationships, and everybody seems like they're holding something back out in these streets. Everybody's afraid to really um, invest in someone because you feel like it's so much could happen. So I think everyone's scared. The big thing I see in
Mm-hmm.
relationships these days, especially in getting into new relationships when you're dating, everyone's afraid, so they're holding back. You don't want to give too much. I don't want to give too much, and this ends, and then I'll be at the same part again. So everybody's holding back. I think. So I think people
Mm-hmm.
need to get to a point. where that fear, it can't. That's not a healthy fear. I don't believe.
Mhm.
It's not. It's not. And it's like you have to decide how you're going to dance with fear and how you're going to allow
Mhm.
fear
Mhm.
to like have control over you. So
Right.
I'm good for metaphors. If you're going to be in the middle of the expressway with your fear and you're not willing to like gradually go across the lanes to healing, you know, where the
Right.
traffic is not ready to hit you
Frogger.
at any, what'd you say?
Frogger.
Yeah, yes, you're not playing Frogger, bouncing from one relationship, one situation to the next. Like you have to take that first step and not fear the outcome. Like just know that the outcome that is for you is going to come through you
Mhm.
testing and trying stuff. If you stay
Right.
fearful, then you're going to constantly attract that unhealthy energy that's not going to serve you well. You're
And
going
that
to
definitely happens when you're afraid to be alone.
right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right. And people
Right.
are
Right. Right.
uncomfortable having conversations about relationships if you are comfortable being alone and it's opposite of what society is suggesting for you
Mhm.
at that in their terms.
Mhm. Mhm. For sure.
Because I can recall conversations that we've had um where somebody has said that they were on like a break, like say celibacy type break, and I didn't say no names.
I didn't say that. I said, huh? They need a break by themselves.
Oh god.
If you want a break,
Because they were
please
in
just
their
stay
healing and
alone.
grieving process.
Don't heal and date.
They could date
Yeah.
I'm just
themselves.
saying.
Yeah, yeah. If
I'm just
you're on a
saying.
date and the person says, "Well, I'm fearful because I'm healing from the," you should be home.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna be celibate for the next year. Call me in a year then.
Daryl, you so
I'm not
consistent.
telling you to lose my number. Just lose it for a year.
Just for a
No,
year.
just a year.
Yeah,
Well,
until you're ready.
you might have some other stuff that happens in a year that you're no longer available.
Right.
Hey, that's the cost her celibacy may take.
That's the risk.
That's
That's
a
the
risk.
risk.
Her celibacy missing. Hey, you missed this one. This one wasn't celibate for a year.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah. You see, Daryl, I mean, Ruth already said to mute you, Daryl. Doc, what else can authentic healing? Because that survival narrative comes in too.
Mhm.
And that survival
Mhm.
narrative is really can be a scary place that fear can kind of have a grip on you. Um, you just got to kind of push through it. Like just trust and
Mhm.
know that you really are going to be okay as an independent person that's healing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right. Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
And okay looks different for everybody.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
Because
And that's the
people
other thing. We have to be okay for us. Not to cut you off, Mary, but be okay for ourselves, not for okay for what our friends feel what is
Right.
okay or what
Right.
society says what's okay. You really have to find out what's okay, what that means for you.
mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because
For sure.
your friends that had you getting married barefoot and pregnant with an unhealthy situation just because they say,
Hmm.
well, you at the age that you ain't gonna find nobody, or
Right. Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Janet Jackson rocked it out at 50, so you're gonna be all right.
Right.
That's a very Janet
It
Jackson's
is an
different.
extreme. I know she got different
Yeah.
support
Yeah.
systems, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying she was 50 popping
Yeah.
out babies.
I don't believe that either, but okay.
Well, society tells us all types of things.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
most
Right.
people do follow them on that show that you just named, the chaos, drama, and love and hip hop.
Mhm.
Right. Right. Right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And people define their lives based on the chaos,
Absolutely.
drama, love, and hip hop. And so, but if that's their manual, they might think that it's realistic.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, they really believe it is.
They do.
They believe it is,
They
and
do.
they're the ones getting locked up for doing the same thing they see doing on TV that's written.
Right.
You
Or
understand? So
abusing their
it's
children's freedoms. But
right.
that's another show, too.
Mm.
So, be mindful of the expectations, I guess, that you have in relationships and disappointments. when you're thinking about like your non-negotiables, because
Right.
your non-negotiable is only implemented best if you are consistent with it. And so,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the non-negotiables are really big. I think you really need to know more so what you won't accept.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to know those things that you will not accept. Things that
And
you
not keep moving the goalposts.
right,
Right.
right. And I think
Mhm.
I don't know. I know
Put that black woman head to the side, like you heard.
yeah, you can't move that goalpost because I think a lot of times people will, oh, she's so cute, maybe, or she's so beautiful, or did it, and you'll let things slide. But at the end of the day, that could come back to really bite you. So
Mhm.
you may have to
Receive.
let go to John, the bad John, because she doesn't mark, most of your boxes, and that's okay because you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to get in something where down the road things don't go the way you want because you let this slide.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yes. And especially when it's things like, they have to do with your boundaries or your
Hmm.
emotions
Mm-hmm.
or,
Right.
you know, your needs being met.
Right.
These are the things that a lot of people compromise on
Mm-hmm.
because the person is a bad joint.
Right. 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 That's real.
Mhm.
Or they've been
Yeah.
penalized because their needs being met takes away from the relationship, or you
Mhm.
doing this new little, you going to school to get your degree, that's taking away time from the relationship versus us having a conversation that I'm going to get my degree. It's going to take this particular time, but we can still have our time put into the schedule. Like it's not taken
Mhm.
away.
And we have to be okay with if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? If
How
that
about
person
that?
can't accept you going to school or something you really feel is for you, we have to say, okay, then, well, I guess this won't work, right?
Mhm.
I guess it won't, and we have to be okay with that because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we can't always compromise everything. Like I
Right.
talked
Right.
about earlier, I was able to compromise the gym somewhat, but if it was like, well, you could only go to how about you go to gym 3 days a week, then I'm like, that's not going to work, right?
Mhm.
So I can compromise to a point, but also know where I can't go past. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna. I only can do so much because I want to make room for you. I want to make space and room for you, and what you need. But there has to be. I have to still feel like me as well. I can't lose all of me because then that's a problem.
Mhm.
Because now
Right.
I'm arguing about the peanut butter jar and the refrigerator door.
There's
And the
definitely
treat.
a difference between your deal breakers and the areas you're willing to compromise on. And I think a lot
Right.
of times people get those confused and
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
they'll be compromising on their deal breakers and wondering why they're miserable.
Right. Right.
Like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't stand this person no more. I don't know why.
Right, right,
Right.
right, right, right,
Right.
right. And I remember I tried that once. 'Cause I don't like smoking. I can't deal with people smoke.
Mhm.
And one girl like, well, I only smoke outside. I'm like, it's only outside. All right. And then I realized I still smell it. You smell like smoke. Are you smoking right now?
Right.
This ain't gonna work.
Is
And it
it is it
like after a while, it just couldn't work because the smell was just like you smell
Mhm.
like a cigarette. I can't do this. I don't like it. I
Mhm.
don't like it at all.
Mhm.
so,
Mhm. Yeah, but
so I
you're,
realized,
you're right. When there's like time is running out,
Mhm.
they're so bad or whatever the
right.
case may be, then it's like, well, maybe I could compromise on this right here.
Right, right. Like she bad. She bad. Like damn, look at that. Little smoke ain't gonna hurt outside. It did. It hurt a lot. It hurt a lot.
Right.
Because when you don't smoke, it's magnified.
Smell it.
So it
Exactly.
Yeah.
felt, it,
Yeah.
it, it felt like it was in her hair everywhere. I'm like, did you? Are you smoking in your hair? Are you putting a cigarette in your hair? What are you doing? I can't do this. And it just didn't work. She was a bad John. You feel me? Bad John. Just one bad habit, smoking.
Oh
Messed it all
God.
up. Couldn't take it. Couldn't
Right.
take it.
But
And you gotta
Smoke.
I've
be
talked to a few people who don't know what their deal breakers are. And I'm
right.
like, how
Exactly.
you
Yes.
know, you
Right.
need to before you get into a relationship, you need to pick yourself apart.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You
Mm-hmm.
need to
Right.
figure these things out because you can't tell someone something you don't know.
Right.
Right.
Right. And you out in these
Hmm.
streets telling and being like what's that imposter syndrome? Like you're not truly
Mhm.
being you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't know who you are. It's not even impossible. You don't know.
Well,
I
you
think, like I said, we
I
talked about
think
it earlier.
imposter
Sometimes,
because you
good.
going along to get along. And so like if they say they want this, then you becoming a chameleon to do that. That's why I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking imposter
Mm-hmm.
syndrome.
So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, it'd be more like a person that has no, there's water. So whatever container they put in, they fit to that container because they don't have any identity. Some people
Mm-hmm.
don't have an identity, and their identity lies in whomever they come in contact with.
Yes,
So I
very
don't really
true.
think they're being an
Very
imposter. I think
true.
they're just being, that's just them. They're like, well, if you like going there, I like going there. You like going to the moon, I like going to the moon. Like, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
supportive. I like to do whatever you do. Hey, we
Mm-hmm.
need you to have you first. What do you like to do?
Mm-hmm.
And we said we need to know these things about ourselves and what we like and what we don't like. Because how can I get with someone else not really knowing what I like to do?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we like to eat. Well, I don't know what I like to eat. Okay. What do you like to do?
And
I don't know what I like to do. That makes it difficult. That makes it difficult.
I think that that's extremely important, though, to go from a abusive relationship to a healthy one. You need to take
Right.
the time to figure that out.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And like some of those experiences that you listed out earlier, Daryl, too, about like people with trouble sleeping, the eating disorders, having flashbacks, all of those different things. You had some other things that was in that list. Those are the three that I was able to capture. Um, that those are all indicators that something is not settling well with you.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
you don't
Right.
just
Right. Right.
all of a sudden not be able to sleep well. Not sleeping well is an indicator. Like it's your body and your behavior telling you that it's something not working well that you need to resolve. And until you
Mhm.
resolve it, you're not getting no rest.
Mhm.
And
And you
then
should stay single.
That's real. Say it again. Say it again.
You should stay single.
Mhm.
100.
But Doc, you want me to stay single, but if I have somebody, they able to hold me and I'm able to go to sleep because I'm comfortable
Right.
in
Mm-mm-mm.
their arms.
Uh-huh.
Like I was trying to say single, but I met this bad joint in ShopRite.
Bad
She
joy.
bad, son. I'm not ready. Definitely not ready because I'm still having the trouble sleeping. I'm having the panic attacks. I'm using a whole bunch of substances. But she bad, son. Well, you're gonna mess it up. I'm gonna let y'all know you're gonna mess it up, or it's not gonna be what you want because you're not ready.
Mhm.
That's the problem. We're
Mhm.
not ready, or you're gonna get yourself back into a bad situation because you're not ready.
Mhm.
So you need to be ready to see those signs.
Mhm.
To see the signs that maybe this may not be for you. And if we're
Mhm.
not, again, we got to be ready.
And then
We always
you in those you're projecting that outward. So you're making yourself a target.
Right.
right, right,
Because those people who like those type of people is always
Yes.
out there looking for their
Yes.
next John, since we on the
Yes.
word John tonight.
Yes.
They always looking
Yes.
for
my
their next
my
John.
And
paying homage to Philly.
they see you a mile away. They see you a mile away.
It's so crazy. Or even that superhero guy. That, hey girl, I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna do. And you gonna fall for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be he might not be the superhero he says he is, but he's gonna paint that picture. And since you're looking for something so much, you're gonna believe that. You're gonna fall into that.
Mhm.
Or that girl, same thing. You're gonna fall into that because you're not ready,
Mm-hmm.
and that could be catastrophic.
And
Yep.
remember that message in the DM, like, why are you entertaining it? Like,
Mhm.
Right,
I mean,
right,
we said up to 15 minutes, but it's something about you that made you entertain the 15 minutes. But if you go beyond 15 minutes, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Hold
right,
the mirror up. What are
right,
you doing? And not
right.
shaming you,
Mhm.
but want that to be one of your indicators to say,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, what really am I doing?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I think one of the hardest things to do is sit with yourself.
And be in silence. Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's difficult.
Mhm.
There, I could see
Yeah.
that being difficult for you.
Yeah, sit in silence. I can sit by myself, but sit in silence. I tried to get to meditating. I got a minute. It seemed like an hour. I was like, this is a long time. A minute. Yeah, it ain't for me. It ain't for me. Okay. I guess too quiet. Why is it so quiet when you meditate? You gonna put some music on or something?
But it's definitely can be healing, to kind of,
Right, right,
if you
right,
like
right.
water, to go near the
Mhm.
water and sit in the bench
Mhm.
and journal. Um, it's so many things that you could do that creates that silence. Sometimes driving with no noise will
Right.
Mhm. Yes.
to a city that
Yes.
you driving in, it might still seem like that chaos, drama, and love and hip hop. However,
Well,
driving with no music going is really self care.
you might
Right.
want to have no music on so you can hear if there's some gunshots flowing around you.
Right,
Yeah. Where over there, sheesh,
right,
it ain't never
Yeah.
quiet. It's always
right.
Fourth of
'Cause
July
I
over there.
passed
I'm
your block
hearing.
earlier today, Doc, and I was like looking like, okay, Doc could. Okay, Doc is good.
Sheesh, y'all live in Beirut. Y'all like a whole country. Y'all new country by itself.
Man, for
I don't even
real.
live near Doc, but I was over there and like it was a major accident. And I was like, okay, let me just look down the block. My peeps all right? Or my peeps look like they all right.
Oh, you saw the accident on the corner up there?
Yes.
We headed out. We headed out.
It's
As
our
it was just,
anniversary.
drawing a lot of
Yeah.
attention.
Right, right, right,
We headed
right.
out.
It was definitely a lot of attention happening on that corner.
Yes, yes.
I was like, okay, toot toot, let me just go.
I know that's right. So,
So it's go ahead.
I was gonna say, so once you're ready, and you know you're ready because you've done your
What does
healing,
Buddy look like?
you're ready to get back out there. Well, that wasn't
Yeah.
my
What does ready look like?
question,
Yeah.
but
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
let's take my question, then we can talk about what ready looks
All
like.
right, let me get
So
some
my
hydration.
question is, once you're ready, how do you recognize that someone's being healthy? How do you even know? What are some green flags that this new person might be? Because people fool you. We're not going to act like that don't happen. Sometimes
Right.
people
Right.
fool you. They look healthy in the beginning, but one thing I always tell people, they can't hold it together forever. They're able to
So.
hold it together for a little bit, but they're not
Right.
usually able to hold it together forever. But
So I think this is
what are some
this is
green flags that this is possibly healthy?
okay. So first green flag is
Oh
that
wait, okay, I
you
wrote
should.
that wrong then.
The first green flag I would think you would want to be in something where you can speak freely. Right. You
Yes.
shouldn't be afraid to speak. That's
Yes.
off rip. Whatever you're doing, any relationship, you should be able to speak freely and not afraid to say whatever you feel or
Mm-hmm.
however you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that's one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
there should be some trust. Right.
Mm-hmm.
At a certain
Mm-hmm.
point when you're with someone, you should be able to feel like you're in a trusting space.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's really important. That's a green flag if you feel like I can trust this person.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever led you to that. And maybe if and maybe this is after a couple of dates or maybe whatever. If you express some things that you like, or you talk about your love language or how you like to be treated. If you see the person kind of doing those things, that's also a positive, right? So these are some nonverbal things where you could just pick up on. Maybe you said something and you see that person is doing that, right?
So
That's
they
a good sign too.
validate you.
In more than one way, because it validates that they're listening. It
Mm-hmm.
validates that they're trying to do it, like they're trying to do these things. Those are all good things that a person is trying to do, the things to make you happy or more comfortable, right?
What about noticing that the person can process their feelings? So say you see the person going through a difficult situation, or
Mhm.
they get mad at someone, and they're actually able to express this. They can talk about
Right.
their emotions as opposed to throwing stuff around the house, screaming and yelling,
Throwing me
cussing
around the
people
house.
out. Huh?
Or throwing me around the house.
Yes.
That's real. That's a sign that you shouldn't be there. But I
Yes.
digress. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But yes, no, seeing that someone can actually process their feelings is, a green flag that this person has some healthiness about their emotional intelligence.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's smart. You guys can agree to disagree. So when
Okay.
you guys get into
Yeah.
those little arguments and little debates about things, it gets to the point. Well, you know what? I hear what you're saying. I don't agree. Hey, I agree to disagree. Let's move on. That's very
Mm-hmm.
important. In the beginning, I definitely look for like those agreements, to disagree, little arguments, and I see how they play out. Right. I want to see your temperament. Like if your voice raises,
Mm-hmm.
hey, your voice kind of raised because let's bring it down. Or if you call names, anything like that to me would be a problem. If I see you raising your voice, or like you said, hitting the table or calling names, Now I would say
Punch a
something.
hole in the
Hey,
wall.
that's that's a red flag all the way. It's not even yellow. So I'm talking about some yellow flag. Like you might raise your voice. I'm like, hey, it's yellow. Let's not do that anymore. And the person may change. I remember I was in something where the girl yelled. I'm like, hey, we really don't yell. And she didn't do it again, right? She said, oh, I didn't know. And she explained to me, she's like, this is how my family did it. That's what she said. My mom and dad. I was like, hey, I'm not really into that. And we never did it again. So we were able to talk about it, and it worked, So I think that, mutual respect on all levels, right? Like writing in the beginning of the show, hey, fam, and Daryl, that's not mutual respect for everybody. But I digress. So
Oh
we ain't gonna talk about
gosh, we
that, right,
gotta
Ruth?
love Ruth and Daryl.
I think that maybe someone, if you, again, you guys should be talking about goals with each other because see where you're going. And hopefully, if you guys can kind of match each other goals or push each other, encourage each other to do things, if that's something they love to do, hey, look, hey, go ahead, do that, girl. I'm gonna come support you. I'm there with you, and you go and support them.
Yes, someone that encourages you to have your own life.
Right.
Yes,
And you do the same.
Out of them. Yes.
And each other. You got to definitely. I don't even have a dish. I don't wash plates.
Yes, and they're not showing that jealousy because you want to go back to school or you want to hang with your friends or you want to take
me
your
time.
girls or your boys or you want me time, right?
You want a whole weekend away that's just you. That's not saying that you're the worst person. It's just saying I just need to go away. I know Daryl
the whole weekend.
That should be okay.
Right. I knew he was gonna come back and say
the whole weekend.
I ain't gonna talk to you while I was away, but I just need to be away.
We got to talk about this. This is the yellow flag. This is yellow flag right there in the middle. I don't know. The whole weekend.
It should be a part of the non-negotiables. If that's something that works for you and you need once a month, once every 2 months, once a quarter that you're able to go away solo, then that should be allowed.
Yes.
Every month?
If that's your non-negotiable.
Yeah, that's not gonna work for me. That's not gonna work.
I'll be like deuces. Like deuces.
Yeah, I'm glad we talked in the beginning. So no feelings. So good luck. See what talking does? If we waited, we'd have been in trouble. Let's talk about respecting. I think we talked earlier, respecting each other's the boundaries that are. I guess respecting the boundaries. So if this is their boundary, I should respect it, understand it, and not. That's what you like. Cool. And if I accept it, and not try to push that boundary.
Yes.
Not try to change that boundary.
Yeah. So if someone's always challenging your boundaries, that's a problem. That's a problem because they're showing you that they don't respect them.
Right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
We have an answer.
Doc posted something this week, and I'm wondering if this would be something that would show up in an unhealthy relationship.
What did I post?
We just talked. I'm getting ready to say it.
Oh, okay.
We just talked about.
What did I say?
Right? She like, what you about to? You ain't asked me this.
Yeah.
So we just talked about having the ability to process your feelings, but if I always answer the question that I'm feeling some type of way.
Oh God, yes. That is not an emotion.
What type of way you feeling?
If you look at any emotion chart, any list of emotions,
ain't no feeling some type of way.
Is not on there.
It is. It's like it's the face outside of this letter.
It's like the circle of all the feelings, and then it's over here somewhere.
Yeah. It's because it's one of those feelings.
It's one of them feelings, and I usually say, okay, we need to just take a minute to reset And I
Mhm.
need you to like really think about and sit with yourself. What is the feeling that you feel that's making you feel some type of way?
Mhm.
And then they be
Mhm.
like, feeling. Like
Mhm.
that's really one of the biggest things though in creating healthy relationship for you and healthy relationship for other people. Like
Mhm.
is that to be able to like process it and name it, like being able
Mhm.
to name what it
Yes.
is that you feel. Because if you
Yes.
feel angry, then say that then.
Yes.
And let's
Yes.
Right.
talk about what that look like.
Yes.
But I mean, you gotta ask. Well, what's that? What some kind of way? What way do you feel? What is it?
Mhm.
Explain.
And you know what? I
Put it in the name of your
it's
business,
so
it is what
funny
it is.
that most people don't even know any emotions besides four. They don't know the names. They know
Right.
happy, sad,
Right. Right.
angry.
But they don't know
That's it.
irritable, irritated,
Yeah.
frustrated,
Happy, sad,
right,
angry,
Anxious.
sad.
upset, tight stomach,
Yeah. Yeah.
fatigue.
No.
What
Ajna.
in
I
the
got gas. I
agita?
got to fart. I got to fart.
But being able to be, emotional regulation is all about
Every
being
time
able
you say
to
that, I got to
name it.
fart.
You have to be able to name the emotion and know what it feels like in your body.
Right.
Right,
Right.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can't
That
express
part.
it, how am I going to know?
Right.
How will I know?
And saying
I feel like,
some type of way,
I don't know it.
you're not gonna, well, with me, you're not gonna get away with saying I feel some type of way.
Oh, you're
It's not
not. You're not gonna get away with that, or you're not gonna get away with
gonna
I don't know. Both of those means you need to have a reset moment, and we need to pause for you to be able to clarify what it is you feel that you don't know, because that means that's an empty response, and you
mm-hmm,
feeling some type of way. No,
mm-hmm,
what way you really feeling?
mm-hmm. And if you don't
But
know the
it,
name, I can
And
help
Tracy
you.
says it's all the feelings mixed up
All
in
the feelings
one.
mixed up in one.
right,
I get it.
that's what it
I
is.
get it.
But listen, so now I have a question.
But it's
We
no
talked about
accountability
earlier.
if you can't name it.
We talked about earlier giving space. So if I say I don't know how I'm feeling, maybe I need space to really think about it.
And
Mm.
that's fine.
Okay,
Some
can
people
I get
say
that
we
space?
breaking up.
Take the time, take it. Take that time if that's what you need.
If you
Farting is a deal breaker.
Like you don't fart. See, now we're being like you don't fart, Ruth. It's normal. Everybody does it.
mm-mm-mm. But I can see
Yeah, but you know what? But that's another indication of whether or not the relationship could work. Because if you tell your partner, I need some time to process this and figure
Mhm,
out what I'm feeling and how this is affecting me, and they say, oh, we breaking up, that's a problem.
mhm.
Or even if they
And
don't give you
your
time.
response should be, all right, we breaking up because I already see that
That's an
you
ultimatum.
exactly. I already see that you're not the one for me.
Mhm.
I would no. What you got? If they say we're breaking up because I couldn't express my feelings, I'm like, you're right.
Yes.
You're right. Hey,
Yes. We need
I
to break up.
I get up. I get up. I'm up out of here. Like,
Yeah.
because again, I don't like when people use that I'm breaking up to invoke a response. No, but I
And
meant and
control.
they try and yeah, that control, and then now you're using that as a like you said control. I don't like that. So if you tell me anytime we're breaking up because of something, then I'm like you're right, and we're
Mm-hmm.
done because I'm not gonna. If I accept that, now I'm accepting that usage of the relationship to control it, to use to get some type of response. I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So okay,
So I got another version of it though. If the reason that we came into, say, counseling is because my partner never talks, and then they tell me that they need time to talk, and I know what I've experienced before, that the time to talk never comes,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then you need to set time on what it is when you say you gonna come back and
Right,
talk about it.
right,
Is that
right.
in an hour? Is that
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow? I usually make a recommendation that it shouldn't exist longer than 48 hours before
Right.
you be able to
Yeah.
close the
Yeah.
window. So how whatever it is, if a 15 minutes reset, an hour, a couple hours, it shouldn't be no more than 48 before you coming back to say, okay, let's peel this onion back and figure this all out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yes.
No, you're right. At a certain, you can't keep doing the same thing. You can't keep
Right.
saying let's talk and they don't do it. So you do have to put them. You have to tighten the
Put boundaries.
constraints around it. To
Mhm. Mhm.
right,
Because then otherwise you're gonna continue to do the relationship dance that you guys been doing that keep you in
right,
conflict by the
right,
person being able to sweep it under the rug, be dismissive, not confront whatever is making it uncomfortable, or they have to change something. Like, yes, change is going to have to happen, but change is growth. It's not losing anything.
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
I think like that's the biggest thing. At least I don't know. The theme in my week of sessions was people felt like they was losing themselves or losing something if they
Mm.
had to do so much changing. And
Mm.
I can't even say it was male dominated. It was on both partners role, like feeling like they were
Mm.
losing something.
Mm.
Because the personable boyfriend that I mentioned earlier, like the girlfriend is like, okay, well, no, if the girl comes up and she crosses boundaries again, or I don't like the behavior that you're doing, I'm about to unload the clip. That's one of my words. I'm sorry. I'm gonna unload the clip on this random girl. And I'm like, why would it be on a random girl and not with your partner?
Yes. Yes.
She said, well, I was a little liquored up or whatever. I get it. I do. But the conversation of disconnecting the boundaries being crossed is not with that random person, it's with your
Right.
partner,
That's right. That's right.
which is an unhealthy mindset.
Mhm. But it's so prevalent.
Hmm. That's that chaos, drama, love, and hip hop.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. 'Cause, I mean, you end up approaching or confronting a lot of people because
Mm,
your partner is the one that's not acting like they're in a relationship.
correct.
So
Mm.
you can cut all that out by just directing it at your partner. Then you don't have to talk to 10 different people.
Right. But I think the other part is sometimes it's not even the partner that's not acting. It's not necessarily the partner, it's your insecurities that you're projecting into the relationship of unresolved hurt. Like you haven't dealt with what has hurt you, and you're allowing the injury to still come up in other ways, and you going, like I said, unload the clip in some way or another.
Mhm.
You see your message, Daryl.
Mm, mm, mm.
Mm-mm-mm.
It happens. Hit the button.
Mm.
So is there anything else that we want to share as far as healthy tips, or like what it would be or mean to open your heart and have a healthy relationship after being in an abusive relationship? And it doesn't matter what type of abuse, the cycle is
Hmm.
similar.
Hmm.
Right. I guess the
Take time to
takeaway is
heal.
make sure
Sorry.
that you're healthy. Yes, take time to heal and make sure you're healthy before you
Mm-hmm.
get back
Hmm.
out there. And
Mm-hmm.
not be afraid to be by yourself for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And
You
whatever
know,
that wow looks like.
right, yes.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Right. Right.
Not society's wow. Your
Mm-mm.
wow.
Mhm.
Your time frame.
Mhm.
And if
Yeah.
you put your toe in the water and you test it out and it's still drawing that unhealthy energy, be like, yep, time to come back. Dry
Mhm.
my, dry my toe off. My pedicured toe.
Mhm. Yes.
All righty. Daryl, you got anything else? You look like you
No,
was like
I was
ready to
just
jump
said
on the road.
time to heal. I just said time to heal.
Okay.
Take the time to get to know yourself and what you want from a new relationship
Mm-hmm.
and what you don't want. Like more so what you don't want. I think you really need to know what you won't accept and
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
make those boundaries hard lines that don't move.
Lines. Definitely, definitely. So I encourage, just being authentic to yourself and learning what that authenticity looks like. Taking that breathing room, which is the time, like Daryl is saying, and not living your life for other people and legacy of family. Like you might
Hmm.
have to break the curse and break the cycle of what you have been exposed to, and say that you deserve something different and create what that different is.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess with that, it kind of concludes our conversation, unless anybody in the audience has like questions or thoughts that they want to share with us. If they live with us or on the replay, they can, pop them in the comments and we'll come back. Um, but yeah, it's been another week. And Doc, and happy anniversary again.
Thank you.
It's our
17 years.
Oh
anniversary.
goodness.
Yeah.
Hmm. Right?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Mhm. I mean, 17 years, but 33 years
Exactly.
of,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. 17 years of marriage.
Mhm. Yes, that's a whole lifetime right there.
Yeah.
More than,
Goodness gracious.
yes,
More than a
yes,
lifetime.
more than a lifetime.
All right.
Mm-mm-mm.
So thank you guys for rocking it out with us on a lovely sip and chat conversation. As you know, we are here each and every Friday, unless we tell you in advance, at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Neil.
yes, Neil, Ruth, we appreciate your you as well. It's like it kind of just flowed because you were saying Neil at the same time, even though she did
Right. 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 Right.
it and not Daryl, but you know,
Mhm.
I'm being respectful to the years. Like I can't call you Carrie. All right. Y'all have a good week. And again, thanks for rocking it out with us. We'll see you next Friday.
Good night.
Bye.
Peace.